All right, it's not morning, so I can't even say good morning, but hello YouTube. It is Nick with NK Landscaping, and I'm followed by my lovely new wife. Yeah, crazy, right?
Married.
So I spent the morning, or past 2 days basically, screening all the topsoil that we had. Don't worry, that pile that's new is new. That's something else. But you might be able to see behind the Chevy. That's a large pile of topsoil. There's probably 40-50 yards there. But that means in the trailer we have a bunch of tailings that I'm gonna go dump on my property. Heaping heavy load of tailings. So figured I can take this opportunity driving to my property to dump this to answer the 1,000 subscriber Q&A. I believe at the time of filming here we got like 1,070 subscribers, so pretty good. It's raining, so let's get in the truck, start answering some questions. All right, so like I said, we legitimately have a massive load of tailings. This is quite heavy. Pulling out. So yeah, anyway, I wanted to do the 1,000 subscriber Q&A. I figured I got my lovely assistant here, can help me out with this. She'll read off the questions. I think we have a few, at least a few. So I guess without further ado, let's get started.
Want to go now?
Yeah, speak nice and loud.
So, Fire First Ace said, first off, great videos, awesome quality, and awesome skills with the equipment. He asked, how do you suggest getting experience operating equipment?
Okay, how do I suggest getting experience operating equipment? I think I've talked about this briefly before. I'd say the easiest and cheapest method of going ahead and getting some equipment operating experience is probably with a rental. You could start small with something like, you may have seen in our videos, our Kubota BX24. Now, they don't rent the BX24 anymore because that's an older model, but you can go to Home Depot, believe it or not, and they will rent you the new, it's either BX23 or 25, same machine. They will rent you that on a trailer, so if you can tow it, I think they'll even deliver it for you sometimes. They're not super expensive. You can rent it for a weekend, try to do a home project, get some experience on that. That's personally how I learned, not with a rental. My dad actually bought the BX24. We had a home project that needed to be done, and I had talked his ear off about Kubotas, so we purchased one of those and we did the home project, and it ended up basically paying for the machine. But you can start with the BX23, 24, 25. They're all the same. Has a loader and a backhoe, so you can get experience on basically two different pieces of equipment. And then if you want, you can even rent an excavator, or there's tons of different machines that Home Depot or any rental house will rent to basically anybody. And aside from either getting a job in the industry or working with someone that has a machine, that's probably going to be the best and easiest way to get some equipment experience on the cheap side. So hopefully that answers your question on that part.
Okay. Alarm System Store and Andrew Perry both would like to know the price of the steel wrist, so the X04 S40.
I'll let this guy go. Price of the steel wrist. So I get this question a lot, and it's for a good reason. When I was looking into steel wrist pricing, I had absolutely no idea what they cost. I had a rough estimate in my head, and of course we bought ours January of 2022 was when we actually made the purchase. So like the question asks, we have a steel wrist X04 tilt rotator. So that's for roughly a 4-ton machine, and we got it with the integrated gripper cassette. We also got it direct fit, so there are two different options on how you can get a tilt rotator mounted to your machine. You can do direct fit like we did, where it basically replaces either, depending on your machine, the bucket or your quick coupler, and it pins in place of that. So I mean, you can still take it off, but you got to pull the pins out. Or you can go the option of what's called sandwich fit, so they'll put a hydraulic or manual quick coupler on your machine, then the tilt rotator itself, and then the tilt rotator of course has its hydraulic coupler on it, and that allows you to take the tilt rotator off. We did not opt for that. We could have, but I just didn't want to add extra height to the steel wrist assembly, therefore more reducing our leverage. So that was an option that we could have gotten, but we did not. So just the steel wrist on its own with the gripper cassette, plus all the different computers and everything that run it, the joysticks, not including any buckets, was $31,000 installed. Yeah, that's a lot of money. But in our business and the type of work that we do, it perfectly fits the needs that we have, and we're very happy to have purchased it even at that price. I assume prices have gone up a little bit with the supply chain and everything. Maybe they're starting to level back out again. We personally went through A&D Equipment in Connecticut. They are the legitimate best company we've ever dealt with in our business history, or even personally. I've never dealt with a better company. Donna and Anthony, or Anthony and Donna A&D, they're both fantastic.
They're so nice. I love them.
They're very nice. And then we actually had Steel Wrist, which is also in Connecticut, their North American headquarters. They did our install. So we actually brought the machine to them. They did the install, I think, in 2 days, and then we picked it up and we had a functional machine. So super great to work with. But yeah, $31,000 for the X04 direct fit with the gripper cassette. That doesn't include any buckets. Buckets are about what you're going to pay for any other excavator bucket, maybe a little less. But yeah. Next question.
Okay. Savvy1803 said, what model Kubota skid steer will you be looking to swap over? And also, the same question with the excavator, basically, what are your two preferred units moving forward?
Savvy, that's a name that I like to see every week, comments on the videos since the beginning. Glad to have a nice question from you. But yeah, as far as skid steer and excavator, what are we going to have going forward? So as I've made perfectly clear in all my videos, we love our Kubota KX33. Believe it or not, we are making the last payment on that machine this upcoming month, and we will fully own that machine outright. Really cool. Love the machine, and we have zero plans of trading it in or getting rid of it. We've taken fantastic care of it since day one. It has been completely reliable, never had a single problem with it, and we don't plan on getting rid of it. It's a great machine for what we do. As far as skid steer though, our Bobcat T66, now that is a lease, that we do not own that. We're not financing that. We do lease that machine. At the end of its lease, I'm saying goodbye, happily waving goodbye to that machine. I'm not a fan. The operation of the machine is great. It's got good power. It's mechanically pretty reliable, but I'm just kind of about up to here with Bobcat's electrical issues and their dealer support, I guess. I don't know if that's just our dealer personally. I know lots of people have said many good things about Bobcat. Just where we're at, our dealer support's not great. I'm not a huge fan of our dealer. I'm not a huge fan of our Kubota dealer either, but the Kubota machines seem to be a little bit more reliable as far as we've experienced. We're on our fourth Kubota machine, and we love it. So when that lease is up, we do plan on replacing our T66 with the Kubota SVL 75-3, I believe, is the one that just came out. So the newest gen of the SVL 75. The 65 is going to be too small for us. We need to be able to lift those Unilock pallets, and they weigh in like 33, almost 3,400 pounds, and they just keep making them heavier. So I need to be able to lift up that kind of weight, and the 65 won't do it, so we got to go with the 75. No, I don't need a 95. It's too big for us. But I'm really excited to eventually, when our lease is over, I think we have quite a few more years left on the lease. We went for the longest one, unfortunately, but I'll be excited to replace it with a Kubota. And then as far as excavator, I think our end goal is to end up with a KX80. Once again, they're going to be releasing the new Dash 5 version of that machine. So who knows? Maybe we'll have that in the next few years. That's depends where the business goes. But hopefully that answers those questions. Next.
Brandon Thighs asked, I think it's thighs. I don't know. Can I ask why you don't run the skid with the door on even when grading? I personally do not like to run them without the door. Maybe I'm a bit spoiled now since I've had the enclosed cab for so long, but maybe it's just your preference. Just curious.
Okay. Why do I run the Bobcat without the door on it? I believe he was referring to when we were working down in Katona. I had the door off. We were backfilling a drainage trench, I think. But it depends on the day and what we're doing. If it's a really nice day out and we're doing stuff that I need to be in and out of the cab a lot, I don't want to deal with the door. On the Bobcats, unlike like a Kubota or Takeuchi, you have the door that opens up on hinges. These doors open out. So if the loader arms are up almost any amount, you cannot open the door. And sometimes you park the machine or we're doing something, whether it's planting or who knows, you don't put the bucket all the way down, you can't get out, you get frustrated. And that's half of the reason. Plus just communication with the guys. I need to make sure that they can hear me and I can hear them. And you can't do that through an open door or a closed door. Plus the door just like rattles and vibrates, and you know, I personally don't like it. I like the fresh air. That Bobcat cab, something about it makes me very claustrophobic. I know even Steph.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that when I'm in there with the door closed, I feel very like confined and constricted, and I don't like that feeling.
So having that door off gets rid of that feeling, or at least subsides a little bit. And then since that Bobcat was new, it's leaked water through that front door and the back window, so it gets a little wet after a rainstorm. And I've tried to remedy this and clean it and vacuum it, and the issue still continues. It smells like it's a fishy smell when you open that door. Like it's a wet, musty, fishy smell, and I don't enjoy smelling that. And then the last reason is the HVAC controls in the Bobcat are horrible, to say the least. No matter how finely you adjust that hot-cold temperature, and I run that machine with the AC on basically all the time, it goes from being frigid cold in there. I will give it to them, their AC is very good. It's either way too cold or way too hot. There is no in between, and that only adds to that kind of claustrophobic sickiness that you feel. You're always just constantly fighting with the temperature. I don't know. I'd prefer to have the door off the majority of the time, just like I run the excavator with the doors open and the front glass open nearly all the time, unless it's raining or super dusty or something. So hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, next question is, we're bouncing all over the place, so it's kind of hard to read them.
We are bouncing.
Yeah. Chad Khan with CD Farms asked, I don't hear your reverse beep sounding off. Can you cut that off or disconnect it?
Yeah. So the KX33 does not have a reverse beeper. I don't know if some of them do from the factory. Ours did not come with one, so there was no modifications needed for that machine. The Bobcat does have a reverse beeper. It's your standard beeper. It's not that like white noise one. And it's pretty loud. And we do almost 100% residential work. I'm moving the machines around in people's backyards. There's houses nearby, you know. some days you start early and work late. I just didn't feel that that was appropriate to have a backup beeper going throughout the day. So I unplugged it, that's it. There's just a plug that goes right to it, unplugged it. I still left, because it's a weather pack connector, so it doesn't get wet. I left it, connected, just so water and moisture doesn't make its way into the connector. I mean, it still could, because it's not clipped in anymore, but I just unplugged it, and when the lease is up, or if we ever work on like a commercial site or something that requires it, you can plug it right back in, and you got your backup beeper. But T66, it's on your back, I believe the connector's right on the back door. You'll see, like, it almost looks like a horn, if you've ever seen a horn. That's a little beeper. Just unplug it and it'll stop beeping. But it will throw an error code, and just hit clear every time you turn the machine on. That's about it.
Last question. So Daniel Boisvert asked, do you find the piston on the outside of the steel wrist gets in the way of anything, especially on the narrower digs?
So do we find that the tilt cylinder of the steel wrist gets in the way? Yes. Yes and no. Well, I guess more yes than no. It does get in the way, and it is something that you always have to be mindful of. Some days I'll kind of daze off and forget that I need to watch out for that, and I haven't done any damage to it, but I have gotten close to either hitting it on something or catching it on something. And yeah, on a narrow trenching dig. So basically, when we bought the machine, I had concerns about this, and Anthony from A&D Equipment had explained to me that basically the width of the steel wrist unit itself, including that cylinder, is about 24 inches wide. So our digging bucket is 24 inches, and you can dig as deep as you want with that bucket and not worry about the cylinder getting hit. You still got to be careful of it, but anything over 24 inches, you're not going to have to worry about it too bad. But something like the 18 or 12 inch trenching bucket, you can't go past, or you can't go any deeper than that hydraulic cylinder, because it will hit into the ground. That was a concern of ours, and he made the point of saying that if you're digging that deep, that skinny, you're probably going to be benching back the trench itself. So it's not a concern anyway. We don't do a lot of trench work, or at least nothing deeper than 2 to 3 feet. You can get almost 3 feet deep with the trenching bucket on there. So we've not had a big problem with that. My main issue or concern comes with digging out plants and things. I'm always concerned with that cylinder getting caught up on a branch or something, and either tearing off one of the hydraulic lines, or my main concern is the wiring that goes into the solenoids on the steel wrist itself. Just watching out to make sure that branches and sticks and things don't get in there and yank on that wiring. But there's pretty good guards around the cylinder and the wiring, so I haven't had any issues, and we're coming up on 600 hours on that steel wrist on that machine. So
I have a follow-up question to that.
Follow-up question? So you had previously talked about the 2 different types of installations for the steel wrist that you can get. Yep.
Do either of those differ in the installation that you have to like keep an eye out for, or are they both like same outside?
That is a good point to bring up. So if you do go sandwich coupler on the steel wrist and you're able to take it off, if you're doing trenching, you're generally not needing the full mobility of the steel wrist. So take it off. You get more leverage. You can dig deeper without worrying about that.
So there's not as much to hit and break.
Well, yeah, the whole steel wrist assembly itself would come off with a sandwich coupler. You disconnect the hydraulics and the electric plug, and the whole steel wrist unit will just pop right off, just like a bucket.
So if you do a lot of trenching work, do you recommend doing?
Yeah, if you're going to be trenching or doing heavy digging, you're most likely going to want to get the sandwich coupler. I wanted it to, but on our machine being so small, the 30 series machine, I knew we were already going to be limited by hydraulic power, and I didn't want to add any extra build height to that that coupler by putting in the sandwich. So that's why we didn't do it. If you have a bigger machine, I'd say anything bigger than like a 50 series machine or even a 50 series machine itself, I would go sandwich, and that is the plan when we eventually decide to go with an 80 or something like that. We're going to go sandwich. So yeah, hopefully that answers everybody's questions. I'll have to see how this footage looks, because hopefully you can hear us and see what's going on here, and hopefully everything turns out good. But we're gonna dump these tailings here and then go home. It's Friday, so I do plan to have this video out in 1 week. So I don't even know what today is, 22nd?
Yeah, 23rd.
Today's the Friday the 23rd, so you guys will see it the 30th, hopefully. So thanks for watching as usual. I'll have to figure this backing out thing off camera, but I'll see you on the next one, guy. Yeah, it's wet grass too. We're slipping around. I'll see you on the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you got to do. If you want to or not, that's good with me. And I always try to answer as many comments as possible. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one. All right, guys. Before I let you go that easy, I want to tell you about the channel that this guy has. So you watch us every week at NK Landscaping, but Kurt, it's hard to point at people behind you. Kurt has a channel I'm gonna link below, NK Garage. It's another NK based channel, Nick and Kurt, of course, but we buy and sell tools on eBay. So we do a lot of old tool purchases. It's actually what we're going to do right now. Maybe I'll give you a little sneak peek of that when we get back. But go check out NK Garage, and this guy can walk you through a bunch of tools every week.
Yeah, come check us out, the other half of NK. And if you like tools, if you want to learn how to buy tools cheap, come follow us, come check us out. We'll show you how to score those nice tools.
Awesome. So maybe I'll give you a little sneak peek. I'll bring the camera along, because this is a big one today. So here we go. All right, guys, so we're back from our little tool haul. Yeah, there it is. No, I'm just kidding. That's part of it. You know it's a good time when you need the dump trailer. Oh, look at this guy. So,
Make sure it's safe.
you know, I don't know if you can kind of get a scale of what's going on in there, but if you want to know what that is, go check out NK Garage. Video should be up pretty soon.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt's pretty quick about getting them up, but go check that out. And we'll get a little closer. You can get an idea. Ah, okay. Well, go check them out. See you on the next one, guys.